Dope, dope, dope. We are here with another episode of Chatting with a Natty. Pew, 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 pew. Different perch today. My roommate's in the backyard. He's a writer. I'm also a writer. This is a house of learning doctors. What's up, bro?
What's up?
I'm happy my headphones are working. That means it feels more intimate when the headphones are working.
Good. Good.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Just vibing. Hard at work. You know.
You're a cool dude, Leroy. I really like you.
Thanks, man. I try.
Yeah, you're very down to earth, grounded, chill, and you're a father. You're just a cool dude. Um,
All the things, right?
yeah, and I know that you're busy, so we can hop into it.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially, it's like, so I went to WNBF Worlds, got to meet you in person. That was super cool. You're like honestly the only athlete that I got to meet besides Max Melchard.
Yeah.
I was kind of just like a fan, just like really absorbing the vibes. Um, but one thing I wanted to talk to you about, and we kind of discussed it briefly over the phone, is the difference between classic physique division and open bodybuilding, specifically within like the natural realm.
Can we quickly backpedal just a little bit because I know probably a lot of your following viewers, that kind of stuff, is within the IFBB, NPC, blah blah blah. You came to the pinnacle of the WNBF and saw it live. What was your perspective on that?
Okay, so first off, I thought it was such a cool show. However, I thought the energy was kind of low. Are you asking for like what my perspective on open versus classic, or just the
Ath-
show?
Athlete quality.
Okay, okay. I thought the quality of the athletes at the show was phenomenal. I thought the it was phenomenal. The classic physique division kind of became a wash when it was like I think it was short and tall. Those were the two classes,
Yeah.
and there was like it was a lot of athletes on stage at the same time, and it was hard to kind of pick out
Yeah.
the physiques between them. Whereas when it came to the various different classes on the open side, all the physiques stood out as like, okay, that's that person, that's that person, that's that person. And I don't know if it's because the trunks were different or maybe the physiques just looked that much different compared to everyone else on
Yeah.
stage. But
Yeah.
with classic physique, like it really became a wash, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know, but Classic in the WNBF just started last year, whereas in the NPC 2018. So the one thing that coming to the defense of the WNBF for Classic, anyways, is that they just don't have, kind of like with the IFBB not having the level of natural athletes yet because it's new. That's Classic within the WNBF, is just they don't have the depth of lineup. And when I look at the bodybuilding side of things at Worlds versus Classic, like, wasn't even close when it comes to like volume of insanely impressive athletes. There was some good guys in Classic for sure. The guy that won the world title, the taller fella, he was insane, and there were some good guys in the short class. But in bodybuilding, like, across
Different.
all
Yeah, it
all
was different.
four weight classes, I think it
Yeah.
was, like, your top three, four, five, you're just like, poof, this is crazy.
Agreed. 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 So why do we even have a classic physique division?
One of life's great mysteries, right?
Yeah,
Do we want to be honest and say that it's purely for fun?
money. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
With it not and now we're talking broadly in the sport, right?
hmm
Like, um that's kind of been the point of contention within natural bodybuilding, right? Is like, what is the utility of classic physique? Because the physiques are a lot closer versus on the untested side of the sport. I always use Big Ramy and C-Bum as an example. That is such a contrast, right? Like, it's so different.
Yeah.
But now in the open, at the Olympia and at the high level shows, like, they're rewarding those like prettier physiques that,
hmm
like, if you put a grainy filter on them and make them black and white and put it in a magazine and say that Andrew Jacked was from the 90s and 80s, people be like, yeah, he looks really classic. It's,
Right.
well, okay, now we're just putting, you know, what's the word? Like, making it fit the narrative, so to speak, right? But
Right.
going on a tangent now, but
No, no, no. I love it. I love it. Do you think there's a bit of a confusion as to like what proper judging criteria is in bodybuilding? Maybe for like a casual fan?
if you're an outsider looking in,
Mm-hmm.
not not understanding what is being looked for, so to speak. And at the end of the day, it's subjective anyways.
Yeah.
So you can have judges argue about what to look for. And
Mm-hmm.
it's supposed to be the people determining who wins and loses, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for an outsider looking in, besides he's bigger than him, I think that's probably as deep as it would go. Or he looks gross, he looks less gross, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
especially in the untested side of the sport
Right.
for the average viewer. Um, if I show photos of pros to my mom and she's watched me grow within the sport for over a decade now,
Mm-hmm.
um, her viewpoint is still ew, less ew. Oh, he looks pretty good. Like, his belly isn't sticking out. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of
Yeah.
deep as it goes, right? So
Yeah.
if me and you were to rock up to the mall and say like, if you're judging a bodybuilding show, like what would you judge? They'd be like,
Who's got
who's
the best physique?
yeah, but what does that even mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of the crux of what we do, is because me and you could go watch a group of athletes sprint and very much figure out who's the best.
Yeah.
Or say jump this far, we can figure out who's the best. But
Okay.
in this thing, we can't really put a pen to paper of like this is exactly what the best is.
Okay. So yeah, I love this. I love this. Let me hit you with this question because I'm thinking about the Olympics, and I actually used this analogy. I don't know, last year or something like that. Um, Olympics has figure skating as one of its winter sports, right?
Yep.
And the athlete that I think of is Johnny Weir. Johnny Weir was like a big superstar within the sport of figure skating. He
Okay.
goes on and he hits like, for one, the judges have they have his routine. They know what he's doing. And then
Sure.
it becomes a matter of how efficient is he performing the routine that the judges have in front of him. So if he's landing every spot perfectly, his score's going up. And then if he kind of stutters, then he loses points. What if, and this is exactly what I want to do for my storyline, where the highest emphasis is on posing performances. And like that's how athletes are being judged so far as like the King of Naturals tournament. How efficient are you performing your posing routines? So then I ask you the question, and this is super broad. Whatever you shoot out is completely, well, I'll be able to work with.
Yep.
What do you visualize when it comes to putting posing first and foremost when it comes to judging a bodybuilding competition?
So I'm a big posing guy. I think it's
Okay.
the heart and soul of competitive bodybuilding to a degree. But so when we look at your example, or let's say like gymnastics,
Mm-hmm.
you are scored on, like you said, your execution of said routine, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let's say we have 8 mandatory poses, they have 8 moves, right? They're judged on how tight their turn is, where their feet land, how close their feet are together by these set guidelines, right? In let's say front double bicep, are you going to say that my feet have to be exactly 8.3 inches apart and that's correct?
Mm-hmm.
That
No.
because me and you are completely different statured, and for you that might look unreal. For me that might look like shit. Or side chest, right? You're going to grab this high on your forearm. I might grab closer to my wrist. But the judging sheets may say he needs to be exactly halfway between his wrist and his elbow in order to get a perfect score. But that might look like shit on you, might look great on me. So here we go. We got a problem.
All right, right, right. Yeah, but we need to bring it closer to, I guess maybe figure skating is probably a bad frame of reference. More so, like something subjective, like dance. It's
But
like an
that is the key word in all of this, is that
yeah.
like you you and the 5 other guys you're on stage with can hit the poses
However,
correctly,
yeah,
but differently,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And we all can objectively look at those and say, like, okay, that front double bicep looks really good on Shaun, and that front double bicep looks really good on Leroy, but they're doing it differently. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the art and beauty of this whole thing, right? Is that you can have a group of 10 guys in a lineup, all have phenomenal physiques. The judges think everybody looks great. You're 1,000 people in the audience are just sitting there looking, wow, we're looking at peak natural bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
Those 10 athletes may hit all 8 mandatory poses completely differently or marginally differently, whatever,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but it all still looks good. So how do we pick the best?
Yeah, you tell me.
Charge, but
All right, so you've done classic and open bodybuilding, right?
correct,
And you've done both in one show, if I'm not mistaken.
correct.
Tell me about that experience.
So the difference in certain poses,
Okay.
for me, anyways, from an execution standpoint, uh, can look more classic, whatever that might mean. So, in my normal front double bicep, I tend to keep just like that standard stance. In classic, I'll kind of kitty my foot out a little bit, make sure I'm pulling a vacuum. What else? Like, ab and thigh, I'll pull a vacuum in classic physique.
Okay.
Side chest, I would opt to hit it the same.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
but it that I think classic and bodybuilding from an execution standpoint can be the same, if not very close. It's
Okay.
the physiques that will be different.
Okay. Got it.
So I've always said that some guy can win bodybuilding and some guy can win classic in the same show. I don't agree that people say that shouldn't happen because it can.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that some guy should win classic and then win bodybuilding. Because the guy that wins bodybuilding can fit classic, but the guy that's the best classic might not fit bodybuilding. Because, like, if you take the professor,
Mm-hmm.
I'll use an example that you know. The professor, if he's against a good classic guy, he shouldn't win, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
not, that's not him, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
phenomenal bodybuilder,
Mm-hmm.
arguably one
Mm-hmm.
of the best in the world, arguably the guy that probably in contention for the Natty King one day. But when it comes to classic physique, like when you look at like what does that even look like, it is my biggest thing that I look at is someone's rib cage. I think to me that is probably one of the biggest differentiators between someone who kind of fits the bill or not. And I think like with for me from a coaching standpoint, I'll get athletes that are like young, new, or small, or any of those combinations. Smaller, they're not small, but smaller, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to do classic." I'm like, "You don't have the build. You might be 146 pounds on stage, but you don't have the frame for classic. Maybe in a novice class when the criteria like or when the quality is maybe lesser, right? You might get away with it. But if we're talking from a competitive standpoint, you don't fit, right? You might be a great bantamweight bodybuilder. You
Right.
might be a top, you might win a bantamweight bodybuilding show. But in classic, if you're against, you know, a bunch of guys with these fat rib cages, broad shoulders, small waist, and you're not that, like you're in eighth.
Do you know Demain Dawson? He Yorton Cup?
Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah. He's like kind of what you're describing.
That's why he's the champ.
Right.
so
So
so take him and Magnum
okay, okay, okay.
because they're the top guys in the OCB bodybuilding.
Yes.
Magnum and
Yep.
classic for him.
Mm-hmm.
They don't they don't go together, right?
Right.
Like Damien could, you know, get up there in the mix in bodybuilding for sure, but Magnum in classic shouldn't. If we're talking
Interesting.
the best of the best, like
Yeah.
Magnum's not classic.
Okay. So Domain can move into open if he wanted to, but Magnum moving into classic, one would be more successful in a different division as opposed to the other
Correct.
being interesting.
Yes, like Eddie at Worlds. Eddie's
Uh-huh.
not.
Because of his frame.
It's yeah, just structurally, it's just not there. But the world champion in bodybuilding, and rightfully so. You know what I mean? But in classic, like the guy that won classic at Worlds 10 out of 10 times should beat Eddie in classic physique, but Eddie 10 out of 10 times should beat him in bodybuilding.
I don't even know if I like classic now that you're describing it. It seems more subjective than regular bodybuilding.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they
Yeah.
took bodybuilding and they're like, we need something different. So you need to make it more, like, you need to create more criteria to separate it.
I don't like that. I think we're making it, I don't know, just from like, I'm a fan. I've only been in the sport for 3 years. So it just sounds overcomplicated at this point, you know? It's like when I first, if someone were to ask me what is bodybuilding, I would think, and this is how I literally thought about it, size, shape, and conditioning. Simple. And then, okay, Eddie's got the best size, shape, and conditioning. So Eddie now becomes world champion in WMBF Worlds.
Yes.
If we're looking at classic physique, it's no longer size, shape, conditioning. It's like, oh, there's a frame and there's a structure and the X and rib cage. No, this is not.
But that's what you have to do to make it different, right? Because if you say it's size, shape, conditioning, okay, we're now judging the same thing. So you now have to say it's size, shape, condition, certain things proportionate to the other. The WMBF judges posing flow and how you go from pose to pose to pose to pose and what that looks like. It's not a big score, and the best guy will always win. But let's say it's close. Me and you are up there, and the judges are like, man, I could give it to Shaun. I could give it to Leroy. I could give it to Shaun. I could give it to Leroy. But Shaun's flow, his posing, his how he transitions, the smoothness,
Mm,
that is what in the olden days, the classic days, they did that, right? Like
right.
there's famous videos of Arnold and Franco doing ballet, right? And it
Hmm.
showed stage. So that's where, for the like the NPC, the IFBB, like if you're not judging that, what exactly is the differentiator? And the problem is this isn't written, so
Right.
it blurs that, right? Like
Right.
if an athlete, let's say an athlete comes into the sport, they have no access to social media, they have no access to a coach, but they have access to the website of the organization,
Hmm.
and they want to figure out what division they go in.
Hmm.
And they say, you know what, men's physique's not for me. I don't want to wear the board shorts. I've got good legs. I'm thinking, okay, well, there's bodybuilding. I know what bodybuilding is, and classic physique. Okay, what's the difference? Well, classic, I don't do as many poses. But I like to pose, so I would want to do bodybuilding. But then the guy at the gym said, "Oh no, you're classic, bro." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "I don't know."
That's literally the situation.
Well,
Uh,
and you know what's? I literally just thought of this now. The irony of it all. What classic is supposed to be, you do less poses than
right.
bodybuilding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's really silly. And just from my honest perspective, classic physique was brought to natural federations after IFBB introduced it in their own federation. And it does make more sense. I don't think it makes sense at all, but like it does make more sense in IFBB because you're actually drastically altering these physiques with the use of performance enhancing drugs.
That's
And
on the enhanced side.
yeah, yes, correct, correct.
So then it's like, well, why do we have it in the natural stream then? If but Matt, IFBB Pro, Matt Butali,
Oh yeah,
shout out.
yeah, yeah.
He's won an IFBB show naturally in bodybuilding,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then in classic, he's in the mix, right? When he's on,
Yes.
he's in the mix.
Yes.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So even now you're taking your pros, and even they can flip flop and
Yeah.
place a certain way, right? So it's again, the contrast is just it's not the same as the untested,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but when there is demand from an audience, when there's athletes like Chris
Uh-huh.
Bumstead,
Yeah.
Mondino that have a
Yeah.
following, at the end of the day, it's a business.
Right.
I get it. And every show you go to, the classic numbers are oftentimes double the bodybuilding.
Okay.
For
So I get it. From a business standpoint, they're looking to create more opportunities for athletes to participate. From a narrative standpoint and pumping iron, honestly, we're using as like a great frame of reference for how they actually structured a storyline of who's the best bodybuilder
Yeah.
Who's the adversary against the best bodybuilder? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
We're not muttering it with like different divisions. It's just bodybuilder, bodybuilder. So the Natty King is natural bodybuilder, natural bodybuilder. We don't have
Yeah.
to think about like, because if we're aiming for mainstream appeal, we're not going to be answering the questions of what division is this athlete competing in. It's just, oh, this is a natural bodybuilder, and this is a natural bodybuilder, and this is a natural. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, that works for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like, because I know you want to get this to people outside of the sport. So if if we went to the mall, I like using the mall because that's where
Yeah.
normal people.
Yeah.
That's where people are.
Yep.
We forget that most people aren't like us, and it's funny, right?
Yep.
So if we went to the mall and said, you know what a bodybuilder is?
They
They'd be
would
like,
say
oh,
yes.
lift weights, right? Muscles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Steroids, and we'd be like, yeah, like those guys. And then if we go, do you know what a classic physique is? They're like, no, no, I don't.
Exactly.
That's what I do,
Exactly.
right? So,
Yeah.
I always tell people like I'm a bodybuilding purist.
Yes.
If I'm gonna do a show, I'm always doing bodybuilding. I love class. I love the display of classic, but I think you can display your body just the same with bodybuilding trunks on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, man. No, I get it. Max Melchard, do you think he could do classic and open based off of his physique?
Hmm.
Because he's kind of got a big rib cage.
Yeah, Max. I don't know. I
Okay.
don't, so there's a few things. So there's the rib cage thing. I think in classic, you probably want really big arms,
Okay.
knocking on disproportionately big arms.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
if you look at Arnold, you look at Franco, you look at Sergio, they all had stupid big arms, like really big arms, like 20s, 21s with like a 23-inch waist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know if Max could do it at a regional, maybe even a pro qualifier.
But
But
when it
you
comes,
put Max against high level classic guys,
got it.
you'll see where maybe not.
I see. I see. What about Frank Zane? Where would he fit a classic physique description?
It's tough, man. Frank would be a fantastic like lightweight bodybuilder probably,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but when I think of classic, like Frank Zane displays it well, but physique wise, I don't know if I see it as much. Maybe if he had bigger arms, he'd probably be better.
Got it. Okay. All right. This is good. This is
Yeah.
good. This is great food for thought, Leroy. Yeah. And you're actually one of those athletes who actually it's hard to like you kind of fit in both categories.
I can play the field. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
do. I haven't. Well, I shouldn't say that because at Canadian Nationals, like I won my class. I was in the overall, but I haven't. I've done a WMBF pro show for bodybuilding, but I haven't done a WMBF pro show in classic yet.
Okay.
So that would be a bit more of a tell for me of like, you know, at the pro level, again, like you don't know who's going to be there, so it's still
Mm-hmm.
like still hard to tell. Um, when I think of the lineup at Worlds in the short class, like I'm confident I would have been in the mix. Um, in that. So yeah, I think I'm kind of like that teeter totter where I can get away with it. The
Mm-hmm.
rig is there. If my arms continue to kind of get a little bit bigger, I think that
Mm-hmm.
would that I got a good vacuum. Um, but if you were to say which one you want, I'll say bodybuilding every day.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I support the sport and I understand it's kind of like it goes to the same reason as to why men's physique is put in place to encourage athletes to participate. So this is all about participation. News is that when it comes to this storyline of crowning the next sports icon to come out of the sport, we don't have to worry about participation. We just have to worry about who's dope, and
Yeah,
that crosses divisions. It just goes into who's got the best physique.
because I've seen some shows take the winner, overall winner in bodybuilding, men's physique, and classic, throw them in a lineup, and then see who wins.
Aaron Orton went to that Open Naturals, I believe. Last year he went, yeah, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, so like I get it, but at the end of the day, like your bodybuilder should always probably win.
in theory.
Unless it's like a weak lineup and he's kind of shit, then the classic guy. But like I don't see how a men's physique guy would ever win that. You know
It
what I
doesn't
mean?
make
Like
any sense.
no, no.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to find like who's the best like peak human potential, like it should always be bodybuilding. Like who's the best bodybuilder? Because at the end of the day, that's what we all do. Whether you wear shorts, these thicker black trunks, or bodybuilding trunks, like we're all bodybuilders at
I
the
love
end of the day.
Yeah, I love how simple you're making it. Let me hit you with this last theoretical question because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just like your brain, so I'll just hit you with this. If going back to the golden era, and we can agree that Arnold Schwarzenegger is kind of what popularized the sport. Pumping Iron came out, and big personality, huge physique. Years later, it's Lee Haney, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, and then there's like no turning back. The mass monster era has like
Yeah.
arrived. The question I want to ask you is if there were a different set of judges, and if Arnold Schwarzenegger's personality was inside Frank Zane's body, and Frank Zane's personality was inside Arnold Schwarzenegger's body, do you think that Frank Zane would have gotten the spotlight in the same way that Arnold did? And what would that have done for the sport?
So are we saying they're exact same trajectories as far as like Frank would have still met Joe Weider, Frank would have wanted movies, Frank would have wanted California? Theoretically, yes. Because
Right?
all that stuff, like the physique at that point was like behind that. It was this character of Arnold
Right.
Schwarzenegger, right?
Right.
It was
Yeah.
this personality, like you said. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Frank was the only thing that I'll kind of give Arnold is like Frank would walk. Let's go back to the mall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Frank Zane walks by. That dude's pretty fit. Arnold walks by. Like this guy's big.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now he's big and he's
Yeah.
like, "Hello, everybody!" But like
Yeah.
all the things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Frank Zane could have been that, but would it have been the same? Like, if you see this guy, like, holy,
Yeah. Yeah.
huge! Look
Yeah.
at his.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be the only thing is like,
Yeah.
Frank didn't look as like a superhero.
Yeah. Physically, I suppose. But I don't know, man. Like, most movie stars don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. If we're thinking of like Brad Pitt, Jason Statham, if they're walking through the mall, they still have an aura. And I think honestly, like I want to start looking at stage presence. Like stage presence is completely being undervalued in the grand scheme of things. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, yes, he had a great physique, and we can all acknowledge that, but he had presence. He had, so to speak, an aura,
Yeah,
and that is not exclusive to a person with a big physique. It's just not. You know, like that's why movie stars and superstars exist outside of what they look like. Mick Jagger. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Yeah.
So they got their aura after their fame.
Mm,
So if you take Frank Zane before he's eight-time Mr. Olympia, Mr. Movie star, the whole nine yards,
hmm
is
hmm
is he getting that attention? Right.
hmm
That's where like you take someone like Arnold,
mm,
who's a 6'2", 240-pound oak tree.
yeah.
No matter if he says a word or
He's
has any
sticking out.
accomplishment,
Yeah.
if he's like walking by the food court, everybody's sitting there going,
That's a
"Dude,
good
big.
point.
That guy's big. Jesus, like he's huge."
Oh,
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
then it's like, okay, now you've placed the physique ahead of the personality to a degree. You know what I mean? That's
Uh,
where it's like natural bodybuilding, just because these guys are on a smaller scale. Like besides like Magnum, all your guys are like 5'5" to 5'7".
yeah. 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 Dude, you're
uh,
actually kind of explaining why people take steroids right now. Like,
dude,
I I
I,
couldn't figure it
I
out.
I get it. I get it. Like if someone's like, "What do you think about it?" Like, do you understand it? I do. I get it.
I
I
didn't
was
get it
close.
until right now.
I was close when I was younger, right? Because
Hmm
like if I if I got a big hoodie on right now, I walk by the mall, no one looks twice,
Hmm.
right? If I was like tank top with a pump, maybe some people would look and be like, this guy works out. But like if I was juiced, everybody would look,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That's what, like, not only would everybody look, but I would probably be able to capitalize on that on social media,
Right.
probably make more money from my business. I
Right.
might sponsorship from
Yeah.
hostile supplements or whatever the case may be. So now it's like, oh, I'm being rewarded for taking
Right.
drugs.
Yeah.
Uh, whereas like my reward for staying natural is like not dying early.
And that's not sexy.
No, I mean, and people sell that, right? Like we're going on a way off to side now, but like you see all these interviews where it's people are like, I'll risk it all, I'll do anything, this, that, and the other, and like I get it, I really do, because I was when I was younger, those thoughts were in my head.
Hmm.
Um, I get it, but it's like for every Nick Walker, Ian Valair, Hadi Chupin. There's so many pros. I'm not just saying athletes. There's so many pros that no one knows, no one cares about, and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, again, we're not here to judge people's decisions. People are going to do what they want to do. But like, I don't know, man. Like, people be like, "Oh, I want to live 40 years as a lion, then 80 years as a sheep." It's like, okay, like I get that that makes you feel super good. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, are you gonna? I mean, you look at all these guys that are like, your Dorian Yates and all these guys in interviews now. They're like, yeah, I wish I did less, or I wish I didn't make those decisions that young, or whatever the case may be, right? And
Hmm.
um, there's people now that like have not been able to have kids, and they get that 15 minutes of fame from their mid to late 20s, and then they're 33 and they're like, you know what, I'm ready to kind of take the next chapter of my life. And these decisions, they're not to be taken lightly. And it's tough, right? Like
Hmm.
I try to be as understanding and empathetic as I can, because I get it. But there's this famous quote that says, don't sacrifice what you want most for what you want now. But a lot of people don't know what they want most for a while. Then, when they figure it out, sometimes what they wanted now blocks that from happening.
That's,
And
yeah.
fortunately, EDs is one of those things, which in our sport is what we're going to, connect to. But for some people, it's drugs. For some people, it's alcohol. For some people, it's building a business for 10 years straight, 16 hours a day, no seeing no family, no friends, no nothing. And then they wake up at 35 with millions of dollars and nothing else, right? Like
Yeah.
every industry, everything is going to have that thing. In ours, it's PEDs, right? And there's it's it's a weird game we play, man.
You're a wise man.
Well, I'm a dad, so I got to be by default, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Man. Okay. This was good. You've given me some good food for thought. I'm still learning to understand the psychology of a person who wants to take steroids just because like if I'm at my leanest, at my most shredded, 8% body fat, muscles popping out, and I'm getting looks at the mall, it doesn't I don't like nothing happens. Nothing happens. It's like looks don't do anything. They don't do anything. Like there is no I don't experience any kind of reward from looking like I'm on steroids because I get accused of being a fake natty. So it's like there's no success from having a physique that people want. A person walks up to me like, "Oh man, I wish I had your physique." Okay, what happens now? Now that a
Nothing.
person has said that to me, what do I get out of it? I don't get like chicks. I don't get money. I
No,
don't.
and you know what? This is such a cool topic about like success and goals and stuff. So like, for me, like I got very like exposed to natural bodybuilding like young. So like Alberto Nunez,
Lucky.
Brian Whitaker, like those kind of guys, like they were very influential on me when I was young. So I had those guys to look up to out like alongside the dudes in the magazines. I also had them to be like, okay, like this is pretty cool. And I remember like the WNBF Pro card for me was like my North Star, right? It was my summit. And I did it. And then I woke up on Sunday. And then I had to go to work on Monday. And no one cared. I didn't. I felt so good for like 15 minutes. And then that was it.
Yeah.
And I think that idea of like what you want, it's not it's not probably what you think it will be. And it probably won't get you, like you said, I don't get money, I don't get chicks, I don't get nothing. But you thought
I
you
did.
were,
I mean,
right?
that's why I started working out.
That's why we all started working out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I thought I would get chicks.
Yeah, or something, right?
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get some sort of like validation from it.
Something.
But
Yeah.
uh, there's this, I'm super philosophical, so I like talking to you. There's this audio I heard on Instagram a long time ago, and I've saved it, and I almost have it like memorized. And it kind of goes something like, so I was under the impression that when I got bigger muscles, I'd be happy. So I've been working towards that, and I've been slowly getting bigger muscles as time goes on. And I see people like you with bigger muscles than me, and people with bigger muscles than you. So I just want to know what the happy size of muscles is, and if you're there yet. And I think that that is such a very well way of thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not only, and we can just shoot this muscles, but just everything, right? Like how much money will make me happy, what car will make me happy, like all of the things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The truth, and the worst part is you don't know until you get it that it's not
Yeah.
probably what's going to make you happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that like then when you add in PEDs and stuff that has consequences,
Yeah.
it's a slippery slope because now you're going to be really big, probably unhappy, risking health consequences, and that's when stuff gets kind of ugly internally, right?
Yeah. It's a transition between I guess humans, especially in today's age, honestly probably goes back all of history. The desire for external validation and have the have and the have nots. So a person's got bigger muscles, a person's got a bigger house, a person's got more money, a person's got more women, yada yada yada. They see that, they create envy. They think if they have that, they will like feel an internal satisfaction from this external validation. They chase after it, and then they don't experience it, and it becomes an endless cycle of despair. If we can actually, and that's the whole point of why I believe in the power of storytelling and mythology is like we can insert these proper themes of the things to actually prioritize in your life so far as community, identity, family, um, self-mastery, et cetera, and actually have that be at the focal point of what it is that we're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
External solutions don't fix internal problems.
Yeah, yeah. And to me, steroids are a perfect example of that,
Yep,
personally. Yeah. So,
yep. And you see that, right? You see that with the volume of people that are on the other side of it that wish they didn't. I wish I didn't take as much. I wish I took time off. I wish I, you know, you know, a lot of regret, right? A lot
yeah.
of decisions that in hindsight I would have changed. You know what I mean? Whereas
Hmm.
like when you're natural, those the likelihood of those things occurring is probably significantly less, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I jack my back up. I wish I didn't do that set in the gym. It's like, okay, like I'll sort myself out and I'll be okay. But
Right.
if taken drugs for longer or taken more than necessary and they're infertile or they now have high blood pressure and heart disease, like all the things, even surface level shit, like they're going bald and they have like a terrible acne on their back. Like we do this to supposedly look good, but then you make decisions that you are self-conscious about, right? Like sick biceps, but like you won't take your shirt off at the beach because you're afraid of your acne scars, right? Like it's a weird dynamic, right?
And that's the whole thing about trying to chase cosmetic improvements is that once you give in to like the insecurity, it doesn't address the insecurity, it just furthers it. And that's how body dysmorphia forms. Because if you believe that if you have bigger muscles, you'll feel better about yourself, you take the steroids, you get the bigger muscles, but the bigger muscles aren't big enough. So then you take more steroids to get bigger muscles, and it never stops. It's the same thing with like, even if we were to like translate that over to Botox or lip fillers, it never ends because you're treating the issue, you're treating the symptom, but you're not tracing it to the root cause, which is like your own insecurity.
Yep, yep. How big of muscles is the happy size? How big of lips is the happy size?
Yeah.
How much money is the happy amount? How many cars is the happy amount, right? Like until you can say that, and so
Yeah.
like it was not necessarily muscles and stuff, but like finances, right? Like
Yeah.
when I started my business, I had an amount that I was like, okay, if I can hit this, I'll be happy. I hit it, happy for a second, moved on, right? And there's this, like in psychology, it's called the hedonic treadmill. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the carrot in front of the donkey, right? Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
um, random numbers, right? $1,000. Oh, I'm gonna be so happy when I make $1,000. $1,000 hits it, and you're like, yeah, but if I had five, just imagine how happy I'd be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Five. No, it's 10. No, it's six figures, man. Six figures. That's what we all want, right? We want
Yeah.
six figures a year. And then you make six figures and you're like, man, like the water heater still isn't working and I'm not any happier. Like it's
I get it.
this
I
stuff, dude, I love bodybuilding. This stuff I love way more.
really
Huge psychology nut. I love it so much.
okay. Well, this is good
Human,
to keep in
human
mind.
behavior is the coolest thing to try to figure out.
You're preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the
Yeah.
choir. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is definitely great stuff, man. I didn't know that you were a psychology nut.
Yeah. Yeah. My kid's going to have good chats when he can finally talk.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. My kid's turning 6, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. I want to go camping with him.
Nice.
But okay, this is great food for thought. I gotta, yeah, okay,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah, man. This is good. This is good. You're awesome, Leroy.
I appreciate you.
Okay, we'll chat again sometime.
Yeah. Does this get posted?
Yes,
Collab me.
you got it. All right, bro. I'll talk
Okay,
to you
man.
soon.
Catch you later.
Peace.